One day I was sitting around thinking, how do I build the strongest Magic the Gathering deck possible? So, I used my brain, did some calculations, recalculated those calculations, thought of Cranko Mob Boss, and then I had an idea. What if, instead of using my brain, I didn't? And therefore, I travel into the online world known as the web, and I let the computer engines build me a Magic the Gathering deck that is the strongest there has ever been. Now, everybody knows computer is greater than the brain. For example, chess. Whenever they created chess engines, they got stronger and better at chess than humans did. Same with homework. A lot of kids use ChatGPT to cheat on their homework. I'm looking at you, Billy. And therefore, I thought, why not magic? Because why not? So, in this video, I will ask ChatGPT to build me a commander deck to see if we can create the strongest Magic the Gathering deck known to man. And this is how it went. So I went on to ChatGPT and asked it to build me your best Magic the Gathering commander deck. After asking it this question, the commander it chose for me was Atraxa Praetor's Voice. Now, I could just sit here and build a Atraxa deck that ChatGPT makes for me. However, I feel like there's so many Atraxa decks out there, and it's not very unique. Surely, since there's thousands upon thousands of these decks, it can't be the strongest. So, I asked another question. I asked ChatGPT to build me a more unique Magic the Gathering commander deck. Then ChatGPT gave me my second commander, Carador, Ghost Chieftain. Now, after looking at Carador and seeing what it does, which really only allows you to cast one creature spell from your graveyard every turn, I decided that's too much of a basic engine for a commander deck, and that the best surely has to be some sort of weird, off-the-walls, unique commander. So, I decided to ask ChatGPT for our third and final commander in which this video will be based off of. And the third commander that ChatGPT gave me was Rhea Ivor, Bane of Bladehold, a toxic poison politics deck according to ChatGPT. So, I gathered every single card ChatGPT recommended for me, and I threw it into a commander deck on Moxfield to see how exactly this deck has been built. So, these were all of the cards in ChatGPT's deck list. Now, if you look at it, you can tell it didn't give us exactly 100 cards. In fact, it only gave us 67 cards. So, obviously there was work to be done. However, I also realized that it gave us some issues. Rhea Ivor is our commander. It is a white and a black, so we are in Orzhov. However, ChatGPT added Plague Nurse, which is green, and Venerated Rot Priest, which is green, in our commander deck. Both are illegal cards for an Orzhov deck. Therefore, I knew that ChatGPT was going to make me cry and do more work. So, I went back to ChatGPT for more advice. I texted ChatGPT and asked, provide me with 99 cards for my Rhea Ivor Bane of Bladehold commander deck. Then ChatGPT gave me 99 cards. However, this was now too much, so I asked, cut 11 cards. ChatGPT cut 11 cards. However, 2 of the cards that it wanted us to cut, they didn't even recommend for us, so we didn't even have in the deck. So then I had to ask again, cut 2 more cards. And finally, after cutting those final 2 cards, we got down to a 100-card Rhea Ivor Bane of Bladehold commander deck built solely by ChatGPT. Now, let's discuss Rhea Ivor Bane of Bladehold. What does this do? Well, it's 2 colorless, a white and a black for a 3/4 Phyrexian Knight with Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, the next time target creature would deal combat damage to one or more players as combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Now let's break all of that wording down to see exactly what all of this means. So first off, there is going to be a turn 4 trigger with our commander. Basically, as soon as we cast it, we can begin getting the value from it. So it is at the beginning of combat on your turn. It does not have to deal the combat damage, just any creature we control. So Rhea does not need to be in combat for its ability to trigger. Another thing we get is the Phyrexian Mites with Toxic 1. We will receive multiple Phyrexian Mites for the more damage that we prevent this way. If we have a 4/4 that goes unblocked, we will receive 4 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature tokens, which means that we can get good value and even more threats that can deal toxic damage. Next, we have obviously an infect deck. Our commander creates us these Phyrexian Mites that have toxic on it, so we will be using poison counters in order for us to win. Now, ChatGPT also said that this is a politic toxic deck. Where it gets the politics from, I don't know, but obviously we have to see what other cards we have in this deck. Now, I decided to create categories to break down exactly what ChatGPT put in. So first we have card draw, then we'll go over ramp, target removal, and high cost or high synergy piece cards. For card draw, I counted 8 instances in this deck by ChatGPT. The first one being Coveted Jewel. It's a 6-drop. Whenever it enters battlefield, draw 3 cards, and then we can tap it to add 3 mana of any one color. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attacks you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel. Untap it. So we get the card draw right away, but if somebody attacks us, they'll get a draw cards just like we did. So obviously, if we have this, we're probably going to have a decent way of defending ourselves against attackers, whether that be with like a ghostly prison or windborn muse or something. But if we are able to hold on to Coveted Jewel, we get not only great card draw out of it, but also good mana or good ramp too. The next instance that I found important was Skull Clamp. 1 colorless, equipped creature gets +1/-1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. I was very impressed when ChatGPT added this because we can Skull Clamp our Phyrexian Mites in order to give it 2 card draws, which is really, really good. Those were the only 2 notable card draw cards, but there were 6 others in there. Now let's go over to Ramp, in which I counted 12 instances. The main ones being Master of Ceremonies, 3 colorless and a white for a 3/4 Rhino Druid. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent chooses money, friends, or secrets. For each player who chose money, you and that player each create a treasure token. For each player who chose friends, you and that player each create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. And for each player who chose secrets, you and that player each draw a card. So this can be good for card draw, which I included in the card draw, but also good ramp if people choose the treasure tokens. Another instance of ramp was Pitiless Plunderer. 3 colors and a black for a 1/4 human pirate. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap. Sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Then we had Scholar of New Horizons, 1 colorless and a white for a 1/1 human scout. This is a new card out of the Final Fantasy set. It enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. You can tap, remove a counter from a permanent you control, search your library for a Plains card and reveal it. If an opponent controls more lands than you, you may put that card onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't put the card on the battlefield, put it into your hand and shuffle. Scholar of New Horizons works really well with this deck ChatGPT built for us because it added a bunch of -1/-1 counters into it, so we can tap, remove remove a counter from a permanent we control, which could be one of those -1/-1 counters we don't want on our creatures, and still get the ramp, which can be pretty good. Then we had an Arcane Signet, which is a classic card. We also have a Soul Ring, of course. ChatGPT knows well. Then we had Tempting Contract. 4 colorless. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure token. So essentially, each opponent will be creating a treasure token, and we will be creating 3, which can be pretty good. Everybody's getting ramp, but we're getting more. ChatGPT also had Smothering Tithe, which is the game changer, 3 colors and a white. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a treasure token. another really good ramp spell for this deck. The final one we had was Wayfarer's Bauble, which, since we're not in green, I think it is pretty good mana. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, put that card on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So the ramp that ChatGPT gave us was pretty good, even though our card draw was lackluster. But now let's look at removal, counterspells, and board wipes. We had 7 instances of target removal and 3 board wipes in this deck from ChatGPT. First card we have is Archfiend of Depravity, 3 colors, 2 black for a 5/4 demon with flying. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures they control, then sacrifices the rest. So they can keep 2 creatures they have, but it will honestly keep their boards pretty small as long as we have Archfiend in play. Then we have Fumigate, 3 colors, 2 white, destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Then we have Pheresis Outbreak, 2 colors and a black. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Then each creature your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn for each poison counter its controller has. So if we have a lot of our poison counters on people from our toxic or infect creatures, then Pheresis Outbreak could be a board wipe to 1 or 2 players, and possibly all 3 if we're ahead. So this can be a really good card, because if we're able to clear out our opponent's boards and we have a bunch of mites, we can swing with them and potentially kill all of our opponents with poison counters. Then we have White Sun's Twilight, 2 white, X. You gain X life, create X 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1. And this creature can't block, so what our commander creates us. And if X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. So if we need a complete board reset, but we want to keep some infect people out, we can pay 7 for this, get 5 1/1s with the Toxic 1, and be able to get rid of everything our opponents have on their board. And then next card we have was Anguished Unmaking, 1 color, so white and a black. For an instant, exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life. This is a really good card because obviously it has versatility in which you can destroy anything that is not a land. Next we have the high value cards that ChatGPT threw in. It added Blightsteel Colossus in this deck. The 12-drop 11/11 Golem with Trample and Infect is indestructible, and if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it into its owner's library. So if we want to win with Infect and we have Blightsteel in our hand, I guess we somehow get it out and trample over and kill people. But I mean, I get it's an Infect deck, but I don't know why ChatGPT added this of all cards with how pricey it is. I guess we didn't say it was budget, so hey, good for ChatGPT knowing its Magic cards. Then we have Mondrak Glory Dominus, 2 colorless, so 2 white for a 4/4 Phyrexian Horror. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead, and pay a colorless and 2 Phyrexian white mana to sacrifice 2 other artifacts and or creatures and put an indestructible counter on Mondrak. So it will be creating us more of those Phyrexian mites because they are tokens, and we can sacrifice them because they are artifacts and creatures, the mites are, to make Mondrak indestructible. Then we have Sir Conrad the Grim, 3 colorless and 2 black for a 5/4 human knight. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature is put into the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. You can pay a colorless and a black. Each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. So this card works really well with the deck because we are doing a lot of graveyard flinging. We're bringing things out of our graveyard. We're putting things in our graveyard. So Sir Conrad will be dealing a lot of ping damage. Then we have Skrelv, 1 white for the 1/1 with Phyrexian Might with Toxic 1. Essentially what our tokens will be doing that our commander is creating us, but we could also have the ability that we can pay a Phyrexian white mana and tap it to choose a color, and another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. So if we need some sort of way to get around blockers, we can use Skrelv to make a creature unblockable and either deal infect damage or heavy damage to create us more mites. So after those were the key cards from this ChatGPT Magic the Gathering deck. If you want a full deck list, then I will provide a Moxfield link in the video description below, so feel free to check it out. In terms of my opinions on this, ChatGPT has a bit of ways to go before creating stronger decks than people. However, as we've seen in chess and cheating on homework, again, looking at you, Billy, it definitely is a chance that eventually computers could build better decks than us. So, if you found my video interesting, please leave a like and subscribe for more content down the line. I will be reviewing the Edge of Eternity's Commander Precons whenever it gets closer to coming out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.